Hello, can you all hear me? Just type in the comment section if you can hear me. All right, very good. So we have 20 people. Let's just wait for some more people. Um, okay, I thought I could play the music, but I think I'm not using headphones, so there's a feedback on my computer. So sorry, Subodh, there is no music even while you wait. So you have to wait without music. So there's 30 people, 29. Let's just wait for a little while more. We'll wait till 11 o'clock. Um, 11 o'clock my time, 8:30 your time. So just don't go anywhere. Stay online. I will begin talking in maybe 12 minutes. Let's just pop out the chat window so I can see what you guys are asking me while I'm streaming. So Kishan is asking what to do and what to not do around campus. I don't know what you mean by that, but I guess don't copy in exams. Don't steal from your friends. Don't be a bad person. Be nice to everyone. That's what you do not do on campus. Ranganatha Rao is right. That is absolutely true. But you might not be able to afford all of them. So sorry, Ranganatha Rao. Shashikant is asking, how do we start looking for the apartments? Shashikant, just wait for a few more minutes. I'll be starting the stream at 11. 11 my time, 8:30 your time. We'll just wait for a few more people to come in, and then I'll go through everything. You guys can use this chat box that I've popped out outside to type your questions, and I'll go through all these questions one at a time, and I will try to answer as many as possible. Just keep in mind that um, try not to be repetitive in the questions you ask, because I only have limited time here, so we can then go through everybody's doubts. So try to sit through the whole thing. This will be I'll probably talk for maybe a little over an hour, and yeah, let's just start in a few more minutes. I know Subodh is asking for do's and don'ts list. I was just joking. Um, no spamming once we start for real. There's always spamming. Okay. Okay, 54. 54 is a pretty good number, but let's just wait. Let's just wait for 7 more minutes. Is my volume okay? Guys, is okay. I think there's a bit of a delay between me talking and you guys typing. It's probably like 10 to 15-second delay. Oh, Shashikant is asking the internet speed. Let's let's do it. Let's do it. Boom. It's pretty fast, right? So Shashikant, Georgia Tech has I've heard that it has the second fastest Wi-Fi in the whole country after NASA. That's what I've heard. It's probably a rumor, but as you can see, this is Wi-Fi speed, by the way. I'm not even on Ethernet. If I go on Ethernet, it'll probably be a lot more. Um, yes, you can play Dota, but the problem is the time. You will not have time to play Dota. If you have time to play Dota at Georgia Tech, you're not paying attention to your studies. Soumya, just give me some time. I will answer your question once I begin. Um, this is a generic question, so we can go through that. Kishan, yes, I will go through all these areas. Just let it begin. You guys are like so impatient. I thought I was impatient. Okay, we're at 63. Subodh, maybe we can make it to 69. What do you say? 64. 62. Somebody left. Somebody doesn't like you, Subodh. Somebody doesn't want. So you will start getting assignments and other coursework in maybe in starting from the first or second week of school. But this is outside the scope of this stream. So let's not ask like coursework questions and things like that here. We will. I think India Club Georgia Tech will have another stream for you guys maybe in about June or July. I will also try to be there for that stream. There we will be covering mostly department wise questions and also general questions about coursework and other things. Is it fine, Subodh? The CRC is pretty good, Ranganath. It is actually it was used for the Olympics in 1996. So the swimming pool of Georgia Tech was used for the Olympics that were held in Atlanta in 1996. So you can imagine that is pretty impressive. No, Subodh, I'm a PhD student, but unofficially you can say that, I think. Okay, just a little while, one more minute. Okay, 11 a.m. So I'm going to skip all these generic questions that you guys have asked, and I will come back to them at the end because it's a housing stream. Bhumi, that's fine. There's no problem. I'll try to answer your question at the end if we have more time. Okay. Um. Yes. Can you all see my screen? I guess you can because you saw the speed test. Okay, so now I'm going to open this website called nextbus.com. If you see here, it says nextbus.com. So this is a website of um, the Georgia Tech Stingers or the Georgia Tech buses. So if you click on View on Map, let me click on it. It opens this map of Georgia Tech. Now, as you can see here, it shows me the green route, the route that the green route or the green bus takes. And if you see, this is Georgia Tech. So if you open the menu, right, if you go to select routes, you can select like Tech Trolley, red, blue, and you can see where all the buses of Georgia Tech take you. You see these red dots; these are the stops, and these are like the bus stops, and the buses go. They follow these routes as they are shown. Now, usually, you need to be primarily concerned about these four buses in general. These four are generally not used by students. This is an Emory shuttle, which kind of goes all the way to Emory University because some programs have some sort of partnership with Emory and they work there. But primarily you will be dealing with these four bus routes, and even red and blue is mostly just taken by undergrads. So mostly you will be dealing as grad students, you will be dealing with the green and the tech trolley. And the reason why I'm showing you this at the start is because before I start showing you where all the places to live are, I want you guys to have a look at this map of the on-campus shuttle, where all it goes. And this shuttle is free. It will be paid for. It's not actually free. You will pay for it as part of your fees, but it's like a mandatory fee. So anyone can use these shuttles as many times as they want for free. Okay, so now let me just close this trolley route for a second. I'll just open the green route. So this green route is the bus shuttle that most people generally take, most grad students take. So if I'm just going to zoom in, You see this road that my mouse is pointing to? This round road over here. So this road is called the first drive. And Chandni, there is no login. It's just a website. You can have a look at it now as well. Um, so if you see this route, right, this first drive, everything inside this first drive are most of the buildings of Georgia Tech. So if I zoom in further, right, um, you see this is Klaus building where most of the EC and computer science courses are held. This is Van Leer microelectronics. This is COC right here where my mouse is. You guys can see my mouse, right? Yes, Apurva, it will stay after it's over. All right. So these are all the school. Mason is basically the civil engineering building, and on this side of campus you have all the ISY and the other mechanical engineering related buildings. This is College of Design, etc., etc. So now, what do you need to do when you're looking to select a house? You want your house to be at a close proximity to mostly this part of campus, because this is the part where you guys will be going to the most number of times. All your classes will be here. Subodh, it is nextbus.com. Just type it in. Nextbus.com. Um, so once you when you look for a house, it is important to see the proximity with this area that my mouse is showing. Now let's go through a few areas before that. So if you see this whole area that is encompassed by this loop that is created by the green route, this whole area is known as the home park area. Actually not much this part, but just this part over here is known as the home park area. And this area, there was a lot of crime last year. Many bad things happened. So in general, when you're looking for housing, the houses here are more like apartment type houses. They're like townhouse type houses where you rent a room and you live with like 6 or 7 other people in a whole house. And the rents over here are really cheap, but the houses are not that well maintained, and more importantly, the roads over here are very unsafe. Um, Now let us move to north of campus. So up till 10th Street, basically you kind of have Georgia Tech. If you can see 10th Street here, it's kind of Georgia Tech campus all the way up to here. So it's pretty safe there, and it's well lit. And suddenly after this, you get this you get this neighborhood where it's not very safe and the lighting is really low, and you can get mugged if you walk here in the night. Then when you come out from this, the area suddenly becomes super posh. It's kind of weird. So now this in this posh area is basically where a lot of the apartment housing complexes are. So let's just go through all of them one by one. So this area here is called as Atlantic Station. It is kind of a place. It's a shopping complex where you have a lot of shops, lot of food. The grocery is here. You have a Publix and a Target grocery store, which is somewhere in this area here. And you have a nice pond here, and things like that. Like people they come jogging. Bring their pets, and it's a very nice locality. Um, Siddharth, 10th Street is a good housing. There are no houses on 10th Street. There are no houses here. There is There are a few townhouses here, like which kind of go into Home Park. You can look at those, but I have not heard of anyone living there so far. They're not in very good condition. So anyway, coming back, so this is a really good place, and this is the place where most people usually go for shopping and things like that. So since Kajal has already asked on-campus housing, so on-campus housing is here. You see this place that looks like a weird human organ. This place. This place is where GLC and 10th and home is. So it's right like hop, skip, and jump from Georgia Tech. And if you're into getting your own apartments and your own things, then you can live at Georgia at GLC or 10th and home. And it's convenient because you have all your electricity, your internet, everything is part of the fees that you pay at the start. The only problem with living in GLC and 10th and home is like sometimes um, you're very aloof and you're very isolated from the rest of the people, because most people will tend to live off campus, and off campus most people share rooms, so then the cost comes to be much cheaper. So if you want to get your own room, then also off campus is cheaper, but then the difference is a lot lesser. But the main problem with living in 10th and home and GLC is that it can get very lonely and you're all by yourself, because most of the students live outside. And the thing is, when you're in Georgia Tech, you will find that you will be basically living on campus. You will not be home that often, because you'll just be doing your assignments all day. And if you're the kind of person who likes to do things by themselves and things like that, then then you can look at GLC and 10th and home. But other than that, I think you should look at something off campus, and that's a viable option. So it depends on how your personality is. Um, yes. So coming to local on 14th, right? Uh, who asked this question? Okay, Sinjini. Okay, so let's go to north of campus. Um, So north of campus is where most of the housing apartments are. You have a building called the Exchange, which is somewhere here. That is where I live. Subodh, that's an answer to your question. You have local on 14th, which is somewhere over here. This is local on 14th, where my mouse is. You also have 17 West apartments, which are over here, and you have Steelworks, which is another good apartment building that is here. And this, according to me, is the best place to live. Any of these four housing options, and the reason for that is that this area is very good. Your grocery is very close by. Your green route comes all the way to this stop where my mouse pointer is. So you can just take the bus anytime to college. The bus actually works till midnight now. Earlier it used to work till only 8:30 p.m. So now you can come back and go to college until midnight, and it starts at 6 in the morning. Um, Manu, if you want to see the rent, you have to go online. Just let me come. I will answer all questions one by one. Akshat, the bus frequency of the green route is once every 20 minutes. It's quite okay. Utkarsh is going wild with exclamations. So now if you come to West Campus, right? West Campus is where you have 935M and 935M and Marietta Street. So the green route is not very frequent, but it's once every 20 minutes, and this place is like pretty much the best place to stay because of the proximity, and also the mostly the safety in the area and the proximity to groceries, and um, and also the quality of apartments is really nice in this area. Now if you come to West Campus you have 935M and Marietta Street, M Street Apartments, which is somewhere over here. So these apartments are also very popular and they're chosen by a lot of students. So if you don't get if you feel like your seniors have asked you to live here, or for some reason you would like to live somewhere here, so Utkarsh, 935M is somewhere here if I'm not mistaken, where my mouse pointer is. And the only problem, 9:35 a.m. is quite good. You can live there, but the area sometimes is not very safe in the middle of the night. The M Street 9:35 a.m. area can get very unsafe. In even though like this part is kind of a little closer to walk to this part of campus as compared to this part, it's probably a 5 minute walking distance. There's probably like a 5 minutes extra if you come walking. But the advantage of living up here is that you have the bus shuttle, so you can actually get to campus faster on weekdays than if you live somewhere here. Another disadvantage that um, living west of campus in Marietta Street and 9:35 M is that M Street apartments does not have washer dryer in all their apartments, and it also does not have an elevator. So these are some disadvantages of living in M Street apartments, whereas all the apartment complexes here, like Local, Exchange, 17 West, they all come with washer dryers, and the apartments will be uh, mostly furnished, except like furniture, like your study table, bed. All the apartments and all these places are furnished. They come with like a fully furnished kitchen and a fully furnished bathroom. But M Street does not have washer dryer in their apartments, and there's no elevator. So if your house is on the third or fourth floor, then you're gonna have trouble moving in and getting out. So now let me just go through all the questions, because I feel like the questions are getting answered ahead of my talking. So Utkarsh, I think I've answered your question about 9:35 m. It is the closest. You can live there. That's certainly a very good option. But it is not. Most people generally live in either M Street or they live north of campus. So how safe is the locality around Local on 14? So Sanjay, I think I've already answered that this whole area is pretty safe. You can walk on 14th Street. You can walk this way. It is perfectly safe. It's just like in the center of this place, it can be unsafe. So as long as you avoid this place, you should be fine. How is Axiom West Side? Samruddhi, Axiom West Side is a little bit far. I think I'm not sure where the address is exactly, but it's just a little far off, and I think people don't generally prefer to live there. Asta, the exchange is the closest, but they're all equally close. I mean, this is not like much. There is another stop here, so the local is somewhere here in the middle. So from the local, this stop, and I mean, this is like 2 minutes from this place, so it's not like it's really far. So the exchange and local are the closest places to these bus stops. Shashikant is asking, is safety really big? No, it's not really an issue. It is an issue if you do silly things, like if you walk in Home Park in the middle of the night, or if you do things like that, then you're going to get mugged. But as long as if you're careful and you just do things wisely, if you're not over smart with things, then I think you should be fine. Mansi, Mark on Pawns is somewhere here. I think it's somewhere here. So Mark on Pawns can be a little bit out of the way. A lot of people do live in Mark on Pawns, but then you have to walk to the tech trolley, which kind of goes to the closest bus that comes to Mark on Pawns is actually the tech trolley, which is somewhere here. I'm not sure exactly where it is. You'll have to check out the address, and you can go to this website and see how close the trolley stop is. But Mark on Pawns is also a very good apartment option, but it's a little far off. Will proximity to train tracks pose a problem in MC? No, I think there are no train tracks actually here. I don't know what you're talking about. The train tracks are over here. So this, if you see here, this is a train tracks. And by the way, this is IKEA. So IKEA is also in this north of campus. So if you want to buy like study tables or furniture and things like that, this is like super close to these buildings here. So you can just directly buy, and you can just walk across the road to your house and go home. So in M Street, there are no train tracks. Train tracks are not really a big problem. Oh, I see what you're talking about. There's a train track that comes here. Okay, okay. So there are train tracks there, but I don't think that's a big problem. Um, yes. So Mansi is mentioning that these houses over here, there are a couple of new buildings that just came on the east side of campus, like university apartments and Square on Fifth University apartments. I think that's the one Mansi is talking about. These apartments are really good. You guys can try these out as well. The problem is that these apartments, I think, you'll have to go to their website and check. But I think you cannot share a room in Square on Fifth, if I'm not mistaken, and the rent is a little high. But if you don't have a problem with that, and if you are okay, I think the rent is around 1100 or something per room, so you can certainly consider this option. That's this area is also very good. There are a lot of buildings that just came about that were built last year itself. So the apartment complexes are very new and quite posh. So this is another place you can consider living. Um, what do you exactly mean by fully furnished? Sanya, I just said it. So fully furnished, it is not fully furnished, as in you will not have like every all furniture in, but when you enter the house, your kitchen will be fully furnished. So the kitchen will have basically a microwave, an oven top, a dishwasher. uh, all these things will come with the apartment. You will also have um, a washer and a dryer in most apartments. So most apartments here have washer dryer, but the apartments over here, 935M and Marietta Street, do not have washer dryer in every apartment. They have a common washer dryer. So you have to basically share, and you have to keep going like to the common area with your clothes all the time. Um, then the bathroom will basically have a bathroom sink. I was saying kitchen sink, bathroom sink, and you will have some cabinets inside the bathroom. So that, and you will also have some closets inside the room. So that's what it means. So that's all the furnishing that will be there in your house. I think you can check out the floor plans. For example, if you want to see an apartment, right? Let's for example take local on 14, since you guys are saying. If you go to local on 14th, you click on local on 14th, okay, you can actually check out like the floor plans on this website. So now if you maybe go here, see, if you click on floor plans, you go to bedroom, two bedroom, you can check out the houses. Then what you do is you can also go to Google Earth or something, and you can see how the area is around it. And this is the basically the procedure that you do when you want to select a house for yourself. Every single apartment complex has a website like this, and this website is basically where you go and you book your house, or you contact these people from here. You either you can even call them. They will not be very responsive. Calling is generally the best way to do. You have to just keep calling them. The emailing is not the best way to go about things. Sometimes they don't reply to emails very frequently, but that's the way it is. You just have to keep calling. um Mansi, could you? I think Soumya, I just answered your question. So at Tech Square, you have Square on Fifth. Square on Fifth. You have this. So this is a new building that just came last year. So you can look at this building, and you also have university housing. University, or I don't know what it's called actually. I think then I'm forgetting the name. University housing. Yeah, yeah. I think I've forgotten the name of the other building. So, and then you have Biltmore as well. But the another problem is that the rents in these apartments are pretty costly. They're like the houses, they go for like, well over 2K. And if you want to have a single room, then usually it's like $1,100 for a single room. Sinjini, so I think I spoke about the furnishings. In terms of mattress and stuff, you can either buy it online or you can go to IKEA and buy it. So IKEA, the good thing about Georgia Tech is that IKEA is pretty close. It's right here, and every single thing is available in IKEA. So and for a very good price. So you can either just go to IKEA and pick it up, or you can buy it from Amazon and or things like that, and you can have it delivered to you. And that is another reason why I like to live in the north of campus, because you have everything very very close to you. You have the shuttle, you have some restaurants here, you have food places on 14th Street, you have IKEA right here. So if you ask me, this is the best place to live. But having said that, you guys should certainly try out these new places at Tech Square that Mansi was talking about. And also, you always have Marietta Street Apartments, and you also have 935M, which is a reasonable building. But the only problem with these apartments is there's no washer dryer and there's no elevator. So basically, you have to, at least in M Street, I know for a fact there's no washer dryer and an elevator, and this area can be a little unsafe in the night when you travel over here. I know in the past there have been some muggings inside the M Street apartment complex. So Siddharth Mitra, how is Centennial Park? So Centennial Park is over here, somewhere here, and this whole place is a super unsafe area. So while the apartments are pretty cheap at Centennial Park, traveling here in the night is almost like if you walk here in the night, you're pakka going to get mugged. So that is something you need to be wary of. So Nimisha, I think I just answered this question. When you say 9:35, no, it is fairly safe. So I don't want to scare you guys by saying it's not safe. It's not like you're going to get mugged every single day of the week. But this area is not very well lit in the night, and there is like a lot of like there's a lot of roads over here, and there's no proper sidewalk in this area. So the problem is when you're coming to and fro from college in the night, you have to like pretty much walk over here. There is no bus. The Stingeret goes up to somewhere close by from this to these apartments. It stops somewhere here where there's a Georgia Tech building. I think now though the Stingeret is going everywhere because last year we had a lot of crime. So maybe that's not even true. But but in general, this area is a little bit not well lit. But other than that, 935M is a good place to stay. I won't discourage you from living there. You can certainly have a look at it. Healthy living. I think this person is a troll. Who are you? Healthy living. Please show yourself. Smyrna is like a suburb of Atlanta. It's really far. I don't know what you're talking about. What about the flats? Aishwari Chawda. So Aishwari Flats is the building that's right next to Exchange. Flats is basically it's like a kind of a dorm. It's like a posh dorm, but it's not part of Georgia Tech. So basically here, if you don't if you don't have roommates, for example, they sell you apartments on a room by room basis in the flats. So they have like 2 bedroom and 3 bedroom apartments, but you don't need to have three people. You can be all by yourself, and they'll hook you up with someone who's already living in a 2 bedroom apartment, and then you'll have to share your apartment with them. Also, in flats, I think room sharing is not allowed. So everyone has to get their individual rooms. So the only problem with flats is that it falls a little bit expensive again. Having your own room is around like is easily like $1,100 anywhere you go. So Soumya, the reason why the rents are so high is that this locality where Georgia Tech is actually pretty posh. If you just remove this home park region, which is like a dump hole, everything else around this whole locality is very very posh. This is a very expensive locality to live in. There are a lot of like banks over here. There is a lot of like Midtown has like all the clubbing and all the lot of high rises here. So in general, you're actually in the middle of the city, and that's why the rents are so high. So a few years ago, the rents were a lot lower. You would get an apartment in 1500, 1600, but now because of inflation and things like that, all the apartments are 1800 to 2000, and that's just something you have to spend. If money is really an issue, you can share apartments. So if four people share an apartment, then of course you pay like $500 per month, which is fine. So if four people share a two-bedroom apartment, you will pay 500 per head instead of 2000. The options with lesser rents are Home Park, and you can have a look, but Home Park has like townhouses which have landlords, and I do not know how to contact these landlords. Maybe you can already ask seniors who are living here. In Home Park, you might be able to get your own room for 500, but having said that, the houses are really bad, and there are a few houses in Home Park, like there is Westshire Place here, there is Tumlin Street Apartments, where a few people do live. But last year, there have been a lot of muggings in this region, and I certainly wouldn't recommend living in this area. Shreya, there is transport inside the campus. You have these buses which go inside the campus. From here to here is walkable. Like seriously, if you I mean, you just have to walk from building to building. You can buy a bicycle, and you can also use that as a mode of transport that you get to college every day. Certainly, um, that is something you can consider. But another problem with biking that I have found from personal experience is that the roads in Atlanta are very hilly. Like the region over here is pretty hilly. You don't have flat roads like in most places in India. So biking actually tires you out. So you'd just rather walk. But yes, in terms of safety, obviously biking is much better, and it's certainly an option you can consider. Dev, I've already answered how is Mark on Ponds. Mark on Ponds is a good apartment building. The only problem is it is a bit far from Georgia Tech. And that is the only problem. And even to get to the nearest trolley stop is like a bit of a walk. Yes, Utkarsh, 1100 is expensive, and that's the general rent you will pay anywhere you have your own room. But the problem is that not a problem, but what people generally do is that they share rooms. So if you live off campus, you have the option to share a room, which you cannot do anywhere else. So it is actually not 1100. It is actually, if you live somewhere here or maybe in M Street, you actually get rooms for maybe 1900 or 2000. So even though the websites all tell you that the rent is so high, if you call the leasing office of these buildings and you try to get a good cost, I think it is possible for you to get a good apartment at like close to $2,000. And the another good thing about these apartments is that they are very, very good. All these apartments, as compared to Home Park, they are very well kept. They're just like very well designed. They're very good looking apartments. They will be spacious, and you that's how you save money. So if you want to get your own room in general, on campus or off campus, on off campus will probably be around $1,000 to 1100, and on campus will maybe be probably like 11 to 1200. I think is the fee for. So it kind of comes out to the same thing if you want your own room. But the advantage of off campus, like I said earlier, is that you can share rooms, and that's why it becomes cheaper. Nimisha, the down payment generally is 1 month's lease, unless you have a guarantor who is living in the US and who has a salary that is three times more than the rent of your apartment per month. You have to generally pay a 1 month's deposit to any of. I think local has a 2 month deposit because they're a new building and they're a little posh. But Exchange has a 1 month deposit. I know because I live there, and even 17 West or Steelworks have 1 month deposits. Mansi, I don't know what you mean by this. Obviously, if you opt for an unfurnished one, there you have to get your own stuff furnished. So first of all, I already explained what furnished it's not fully furnished, it's kind of half furnished. So you still need to buy your study table, bed, and all those things, but the kitchen will be fully furnished with all appliances, and also the bathroom will be self sufficient with like a bathroom sink and some cabinets, and you have a bathtub, and you'll have hot water 24/7. Once you book, do you pay the rent from the time your lease starts? So obviously you will pay the rent from whenever your lease starts. So if your lease begins at end of June, then you will begin paying. You generally pay rent after at the end of the month. But I think for the first month you will also have to pay the deposit. So yeah, you will have to pay the amount at the start, and I think you have to, in most cases, you have to pay them the amount from India itself. When you book the apartment, you have to call them and ask them, and they will tell you how to send in the money, how to I think you can write a check or something like that. I'm not sure how this works, but people do it every year, and you will have to pay the deposit and the rent from India. Ah, yes, Kajal. University House is the name. There we go. Where was I? Where was I? Do you suggest buying furniture? Yes. So GT Thrift Shop is actually really good. It is a community which is only for Georgia Tech students. In case people don't know what GT Thrift Shop is, let us actually go to it. GT Thrift Shop is like a Facebook page where people buy and sell things around campus. So now it is a good idea to buy things here. The only thing is obviously they will all be second-hand used things, and you just need to be careful, like what you buy, and you need to test everything out. And people are all on-campus students, so there's no question of like people trying to cheat you or things like that. But obviously, I mean, if you get your own stuff, then it's going to be a little more expensive, but it's going to be new. But if you buy something here, it's going to be used, and this is a very good option. So Nimisha, that's actually a very good suggestion. So another place to buy things is GT Thrift Shop, but then again, you have to go and collect this furniture from the places. And I think the whole point of furniture is uh, how easy it is to get to your apartment, because furniture can be difficult. So if you don't have an elevator, for example, in your apartment building, then carrying these table, chairs, bed frames, and thing like this thing, which you probably don't need, but it can get difficult. Can we get the furniture on lease? Yeah, so I think I just answered this question. So in terms of furniture, you don't really need. All you need is a bed, and you need a study table and a chair. That's all each person needs. All the other furniture is basically like Maya, basically. So if you need other furniture, you can buy it. The three pieces of furniture, which is bed, table, and chair, that I spoke about, you can just buy from IKEA, or you can buy it from Amazon, or you can look at this Facebook page, and you can contact these people who are selling. But obviously, on this page, you're not going to get everything that you need, right? People need to be selling that as well for you to get it. Westmar student loss. So Westmar is really far. That's the only reason why I told not to go there, Manu. Um, uh, Also, I'm not sure about the quality of housing in that place. Generally, students don't live there because so let me tell you one thing, like before you start, right? I mean, these are all very, very good options that you guys are suggesting, and it is certainly possible for you to live there. But what sometimes you may not realize is that while having a good house is really important, you're not actually going to spend much time in your house. Most of your time will be spent on campus, or you may spend time in your house, but you will all be doing your assignments and things like that together. So it's very, very important from that point of view to live in a popular locality where more students live. So you can get together and study. You can do and assignments in Georgia Tech are very difficult. You have to do them in groups. Unless you're like a super genius, the chances are you may not be able to do it by yourself. So that is a big advantage, the convenience of going, being able to go to where most of the people study together and do things together. Are guarantors required? Any benefit? Yes, Akira. So if you have a guarantor, then you don't have to pay the initial deposit. But most people don't have guarantors in the US, right? Because most people are international students. So if you have some uncle or auntie or something, someone close to you living in Atlanta, then they can be guarantors for your apartments. But otherwise, you most people just pay the 1 month's deposit for the lease. Sunant, I have answered this question. There is no problem with ground floor in local on 14th. I answered this question on private messenger with you. Shaundarya Nagalingam, the bus fare. Shaundarya, there is no bus fare. You pay for this as part of your initial fee that you pay, and then you can use the buses for free as many times as you like. Alekia is asking what would expenses other than rent amount to per month. So let's go through this actually. So the rents now, as you all already have seen, they are about around 2K for a two-bedroom apartment. So if you share an apartment, you will have to pay about $500 per month just for the rent alone, and then internet and electricity and water and things like that will probably be close to around 70 to $80 per head. So for the apartment, they will be around $300. All electricity, internet, water, everything combined will come to close to about 250 to $300. So per head, it would be probably be like 60 $70. So you add that to the 500, and so that is basically how much you will be paying per month, and then additional for food. So what if you like to eat out a lot like me, then obviously it will be more expensive. But if you eat at home, then maybe around close to $300 per month or $200 per month if you eat at home. So Shreyas asks, when do leases generally get signed? I don't know what you mean by this question. You sign the lease. Oh, you mean when you start looking for apartments? You should start looking for apartments now. You should have already begun. If you have not begun, please call them today. The only reason for doing that is all these apartments get filled very quickly, and there is always like a huge rush to get into these apartments. So you don't get your own. You should have some backups. You should call 3 or 4 places and just try and get an apartment in one of the places. So if you guys have not started for looking for apartments, you should begin like right now. Now is a good time. Do we need a cycle? No, Asta, I already told you, you have these buses. You can walk. The walk from here to here is like 15 minutes. The walk from here to here is like 10 minutes. So if you're like a big city person who has never walked in their life, then sure you can get a bike. But otherwise, I'm sure most people can like walk for like 10 to 15 minutes if and you always have the buses. Harsh, I don't think you should live this far. It is not really the wisest thing to do, because I first of all I cannot answer this question because I do not know this area that you're talking about. And secondly, obviously getting a vehicle is money, and you would have to spend more money to buy a car and spend money every month maintaining the car, let alone getting time to drive that car. And it's very important to live as close to campus as possible. I think the most important thing you need to consider is to live as close to campus as possible, which means this area, West Campus, North Campus, and this Tech Square area are the go-to places. These are the closest to campus, and there are many apartment buildings here. There's like four of them here. There's two of them here. There's three of them here. So you have a lot of options. Now, if you don't get in these apartments, then yeah, sure, you can look for Mark on Pawns or things, other apartments outside. But in general, these are the places that you should live in. How do you really go about searching? Do we have to yes, Ishika, you have to obviously individually go and check every website. I just showed you earlier, every single apartment complex has a website. So you go there, they will also have a phone number. Let me actually just show you once again. So let's go back to local on 14th. Let's go back to their website. If you go to the website, you will see you just go to the menu. You go to the contact. You can email them. You can say all this. You can also call them at this number 855 local 14. That's their phone number. And I think the best way to book apartments is to send them an email first and then call them. And make sure you know the office timings. Don't just call any time in the day and then get mad if they don't pick up. Make sure you have a look at their office timings. Most office timings of all the leasing offices are 9 to 5 on weekdays, and some of them are open on the weekends as well. So you should call within when they're open. And many times they may not answer your call, so you just have to keep trying. You just have to keep calling. So if you're sharing a room or an apartment with other people, then you guys can take turns calling, if they don't pick up your phone or something. But you just have to keep calling and keep trying, and that is the only reason why I'm telling you guys to start searching for apartments now itself. The earlier you start, the better. I mean, you don't want to land up with some substandard apartment. It makes a big difference eventually, because not being in close vicinity with the general crowd of Georgia Tech or your friends or your classmates, and living in some apartment where you're not happy can actually take a toll on you. And when you're in Georgia Tech, you will be stressed. You will have a lot of work. You will have a lot of homework. You will have a lot of assignments. So it's very important to live in a good area where all the facilities are close by. You don't want to waste time, going to grocery, this, that. You just want everything to be right next to you and easy. And this is something that you need to uh, really consider as the first choice. In terms of money, I know it's a little expensive, but this kind of money, first of all, that you're paying for your housing is pretty small compared to the fees that you guys are paying to Georgia Tech. And so, it's better to just pay like $50 to $100 more per month and live in a better way, rather than cut corners and just live just just trying to make ends meet and live. So the next question is, which is okay, wait, there's like a lot of questions. Which is the nearest bus stop to Atrium West Side? Which is so Samruddhi, Atrium website West Side is again not very safe, because North Side Drive sometimes there can be mugging. So this area over here, so there is no bus stop here. Okay, this is pretty far. So Atrium West Side is somewhere here. This area, this road that you have here, or I think it's here actually. It's one of the. It's on 14th Street, right? Let me just check it. Yep, yep. So it's here. So this area, this one short stretch of road, right, is not very well lit in the night. And this North Side Drive, this little area is a there's a gas station here that sometimes gets mugged. So Atrium West Side is okay. It's also a pretty recent building. So but still there is no bus that comes here, and from here to here is not that close. So you need to I mean, you don't want to walk like one third of your distance to college just to get to the bus stop. So it is, you can certainly look at it. I won't discourage you from doing it, but it's really, I mean, you should probably look here if you don't get a place in any of the places that I've mentioned earlier. Soumya, Lindbergh station is somewhere really far. You don't want to live at Lindbergh Center. Soumya Tata asks, GT buses are enough if you live close by. So this is not like how you guys travel in India. Let me tell you, it's not, your timings are not going to be, you go at one time and then just come back at evening, go back to your house. It's not going to be like that. Everything is going to be absolutely, jumbled up and messed up. You're just going to be at campus at odd times. You're going to be home at odd times. You're going to mostly just be doing assignments once college gets going. So it is absolutely necessary to live close by. So in this region, you don't need to travel by Malta. And then again, you have to pay for Malta. Malta is the public transport, so that is not free. Local and exchange specifically. So Rosie, local is a newer building. So here's what has happened, right? Over the last couple of years, 2 years ago, there was no local. There was no these houses at Tech Square weren't there, and there was no steelworks. So 2 years ago, basically in this area, all you had was 17 West and Exchange, and you had M Street. And so few years ago, there was a lot of rush for people to live, and people used to not get apartments. But now you have many good buildings. You have these new buildings at Tech Square that Mansi just spoke about earlier. You also have local on 14 steelworks. You have these buildings. They are new buildings, and which is why the rent is pretty costly because they're very posh and very the architecture of the buildings it's just a posh building. It's a nice place to stay. So if you want me to compare exchange and local, exchange is more of an old building. It's been there for as long as I've been in Georgia Tech. I've been living in exchange. I lived in my first year at GLC, and then I lived in exchange. So I've been living in exchange for like 6 years. So basically, they're both equally good. They are managed by the same company, but apartments in local are much bigger than the ones in exchange. So in that respect, if you're looking to share a room, local is definitely better than exchange. But other than that, in terms of advantages and disadvantages that the two buildings have, in terms of cost of living, proximity to campus, groceries, they are both equal. So you can certainly look at local as one of the top options to live in. Yeah, there you go. So 5x, it's not 3x. So generally, you don't really need a guarantor. Just pay the deposit for a month, and you'll if you keep your apartment clean, you'll get the deposit back if once you move out. Did take the kitchen utensils from India. Yes, you can take some kitchen utensils. You can get pressure cookers and things like that are not available easily in the US. But in terms of spoons, forks, pots, pans, everything is available in IKEA, which is a stone's throw away if you live north of campus. You can also order things online. Again, if you feel like parents generally like to pack a lot of things for their children when they come abroad, and if you feel comfortable getting, I think in terms of utensils you should definitely get a pressure cooker. But again, don't all the roommates don't get one pressure cooker each, so you need to coordinate with your roommates, and maybe get one pressure cooker. You don't want four roommates getting four sets of utensils for like the whole house if you're planning to cook together. So for individual utensils, you can get one or two plates for your own self. Get a glass. Get like spoons, forks. The basic stuff you can get, of course. But everything is available at IKEA. So in case you don't get it, you get plates for IKEA and like $0.50, $1 plates at IKEA. So microwavable plates. No, Soumya, Lindbergh is not something you should consider. It's pretty far. The train service is not not very reliable. I mean, it the trains are not that frequent, and I already mentioned you will be on campus most of the times. And again, the Malta train stations are also not very safe in the night. There can be like random homeless people roaming around. Do not live at Lindbergh Center at all. It is something I would not recommend. No, Goggy, there are no jet sprays. You have to use toilet paper. If you want, you can get a mug for yourself. It's the generally the toilets are very close to the bathroom sinks. So if you get a mug, I think you should be fine. Should we lease apartments for 9 months or 12 months? So the way in which leases work, right, is the shorter the lease is, the more you have to pay per month. So for example, if you have a 9-month lease, it might be more expensive per month than if you have a 12-month lease. So the longer your lease is, the lesser you have to pay. But then again, the another risk that happens with 12-month leases is that you will most likely not be here in summer, and generally you have to sublease your apartment or find someone else to live with you in the summer, and that may not always be the case. So I mean, either way, you should just see what works best for you. As yes, Sunan, certainly you can live at Hanover West Peachtree. There was nothing against not living here. This is a new building. I did not know of this building. I think this building has just come up this year. So if you feel you want to live there, certainly go for it. Let me actually just check it because I think someone else also asked me about this. Let me see where it is exactly. Um, yeah, it's right there. You can live there. You have a Publix that is very close over here. This is a good place to live. Certainly, you can live there. The only the only problem that you might have here is you might not have many people living here with you. So, but other than that, you can live here. Sorry, I'm just tired of talking. So okay, so you can live there. That's something you can consider. It's not a problem. Do we just call them on the number if we want to contact them? Yes, that's what you do. How about Steelworks? Yeah, Steelworks is good. So all these apartments. So generally, apartments that are in the same region are usually similar. So Steelworks is again, like I mentioned earlier, it's a new apartment building. It's pretty good. Steelworks is a little further off. So if you want to live in this area, it's very close to like groceries and anything, but it's a tad bit further off than living in local or exchange. So local and exchange are the best places to live north of campus. In West Campus, you have M Street Apartments 935M, and you have these Tech Square new buildings and this Hanover West Peachtree. No, food is not included in on-campus housing. Shreya, I think you should go to the website and get this information. Cooking is allowed. You will obviously have a kitchen stove and a kitchen in every apartment. Um, I think the on-campus housing is around $4,000 for the semester. So if you want to have your own room, then it's kind of the prices on campus are comparable to off campus. But if you want to save money and you want to live with more people, it just makes things a lot easier and convenient for you to live life through Georgia Tech. So it's up to you. If you feel you need your own room, then certainly on campus is good. Anirudh, I answered it. Both are kind of equal. They're managed by the same company. So local is just a newer building, so you have bigger, more spacious apartments. That's the only exchange. The apartments can be a little small. Now, when I say small, I don't mean there's no place for people to live. Four people can easily live in an apartment, but local apartments are I think, a little more expensive than exchange also, like by maybe like $100 more, and also the apartments are a bit bigger. Sunand, that's actually you can do that, but I think if you do this, you just have to because different buildings have different rules for the leasing. So if you do this, I'm not. I mean, you just have to call them. I really cannot answer this right now. So yeah, does it matter what the demographic of the of the students are? I mean, yes, it is difficult. Um, it is generally difficult to get subleases. So there are some students who come from other universities doing internships in Atlanta. Sometimes you yourself may be here in summer. Like if you don't find an internship, or if you have other plans, if you're doing research and things like that. But uh, that is entirely up to you. Some many times people find roommates in summer. I would say around 50-50 you can find. I mean, if you're not big on only Indians living in your apartment, then you will definitely be able to find someone. But if you're like if you only want Indians, and if you only want like certain things, then obviously things are going to be difficult. What's your take on subleasing? Utkarsh, I just answered this question. Ah, okay, are there any more questions? You guys are really eager to live in Arium West Side. I will not stop you from living there. You're going into very, very. These are actually. How can I tell you? Is it safe? I mean, basically, it's before dark and after dark. So, um, yeah, but then again, you can get, if a mugging has to happen, it can happen anytime. I don't know, Gaurav. I'm not in the mugging industry, so I don't know if it is safe or not. Anirudh, generally it is 1 year or 9 months. It is not 10 month or 18 months. I just answered this, like Sanya asked me that, so I just answered that one. 18 months will obviously be cheaper than 12 months, but then if you do 18 months, that means you have to get into a commitment with your roommates that you will continue living with them even later, which sometimes may not happen because some people do co-ops and they're not there in the fall and they come back in the spring. So I think the ideal lease to have is 12 months, but if you have a 9 month option and you're not sure of the summer, then you can also take the 9 month option. I think those are the two options that people should prefer. Grocery places near Tech Square, Satchit Sivakumar. So let's see. So there is a Publix somewhere here. So they are fairly close. The tech trolley will take you to the Publix. This Publix here is a little expensive, but it's fine. I mean, you have it very close by. Atlantic Station is basically the place where most of you will be doing your shopping. You have two big supermarkets, Target and Publix. And in this region, there is no supermarket. So that is another disadvantage of living here, that if you want to get groceries, you have to always go somewhere very far. So I hope that answers your question. Um, no, Anirudh, if you need to be back, then you just get a new apartment. Or you will, because it's not always a certainty that you will be living with the same people for the next year, because people, like I said, not everyone is here in the second fall. If you get a co-op, you will not be here in the fall. Then in that case, again, you have to find a roommate. So it's better if you take a 1 year lease or a 9 month lease. And also it depends, what if you don't get along with your roommates, then you're stuck with them for 18 months, right? So I think 1 year is good. Subodh, yes, you do everything by yourself. This is a first world country and labor is hard to find. Would you recommend? I mean, if you buy things from IKEA, it's very easy, right? You just, like, IKEA is known for, like, having things that can be easily assembled. So if you ever played with Lego when you were a kid, you can do this easily. Ranganath, the meal plans are actually very expensive. Cooking is something that is certainly recommended, and you will be doing a lot of cooking at the start when you first begin college, because you will have lesser assignments. But as college goes on, and uh, what do you say? It gets very busy. You're not going to always have the time to cook. So in that case, now Georgia Tech on campus also has a lot of, like, food. Like, there's a Subway on campus. There's a big food court. There's a Chick-fil-A. There's a Taco Bell. There are many things on campus. So you have these meal plans where you can pre-buy a certain amount of food, and you can just swipe your card and just, like, validate that money for each plan. So you should go on the website and have a look. But having said that, there is no shortage of food around campus. There are many restaurants at Tech Square. Whole Midtown is filled with restaurants. 14th Street is filled with restaurants. This area has one or two restaurants. There are restaurants on 10th Street. There is restaurants on campus. Basically, if you decide to eat out, always you can, basically, you don't have to repeat your restaurant for like 3 weeks even. If we move for 9 months, then we have to sell furniture. Yeah, Shweta. So that's why the only furniture that you kind of need is your table and chair and your bed frame. Now, if you ask me, you don't even need a bed frame. You just put the mattress on the floor and sleep on it. In my opinion, keeping the mattress on the floor and keeping it on the bed frame is exactly the same thing. It doesn't feel any different, except the height is a bit lower. So if you're like me and you're not anal about getting a bed frame, then you don't even need that. You just need a table and chair. So in that sense, you just have a table and chair. Table is available for $20 in IKEA. You can just sell it to some junior who comes later on, or you can easily dismantle it and just put it in someone else's house. Channi, I just answered this question. You sell it off, or you dismantle it and put it elsewhere. No, Shreya's classes are from morning to late afternoon. Most classes begin at 8 o'clock and end at around 5 or 6. So if you have classes, you will probably be attending classes between 8 and 5 o'clock, like one or two classes every day between that time. How is the tipping? Generally, you have to tip 15%. That's the rule, but it's not necessary. But if you don't tip, they'll show you a bad face. So yeah. Asta, it was very informative. Thanks. So she wants me to leave. So I think I should actually listen to her, and it's already 12 o'clock. Um, yeah, if I don't tip, okay, answered this. Akshat, um, so it's not necessary to tip. It's not like a written rule, but it's like an unwritten rule. Like if you don't, you can also tip 10%. There is no need to tip 15%. And you only tip at places where they serve you at it on the table. So if you have like fast food places where you like pick up food at the counter yourself, then there is no tipping involved. Wow, you guys really want me to go. Thank you so much and all. So rents are not inclusive of electricity. Rents are exclusive of electricity. Electricity is different. So whatever rents you pay off campus is basically you will add electricity, you will add water and trash, and you will add internet. And these are things you have to set up separately, which is why I was telling you guys to come early, like yesterday on WhatsApp. Sunad, no, you just cut your hair at home. Just get like a really short haircut, crop cut, and hopefully you won't need one for like 4 or 5 months. And then you just have a crop cut again and ask your roommate to shave your head. In which bank should we open an account? Now, this is outside the scope of this talk, but I'll just tell you the best bank to open an account is Bank of America, which is somewhere in this region. You have Wells Fargo, which is here. You have a PNC Bank, which is at Tech Square, which most people generally open accounts, but that's not a really good bank to have an account because moving ahead, it does not have very good credit cards and things like that. When you open a bank, you want to stick with that bank even after you graduate, right? Because they have branches all over the country. So generally, I would say if you want to open a bank account, Bank of America and Wells Fargo are the two best banks. A lot of people open their bank account in PNC. You can have a look at that if you want, but we can talk more about this later. I don't want to waste time on that right now. No, Anirudh, the units with washer and dryer have are included in the rent. So these are things I want you guys to read properly online. All you have to do now is you just select an area. You have Exchange Local, you have 17 West Steelworks, M Street, 935 M, University Housing, Square on 5th, Hanover West. You have GLC 10th and Home. So you have a good 10 or 12 places that are very close to campus that you can pick a house from. Just look at the pros and cons of every apartment. If you ask me personally, this is by far the best place to live. It doesn't look that good on paper, but on this map, but proximity to IKEA, Atlantic Station, bus shuttle coming, and just in general, the area is nice. So I would recommend living in this area, but it's up to you. You can live anywhere you want, but don't go somewhere to Lindbergh or even Arium for that matter. It is good, but it's not so straightforward like looking at the map and saying, oh, this is zero point 0.2 miles, this is zero point 0.1 miles. You need to consider the safety of the region, how well lit it is, how easily accessible it is also at night, and different things like that. So you guys have around, I think I've given you guys around easily 10 options to pick from. I think you have a lot to do at hand just to find an apartment in these 10 buildings. You can just go online, look at these websites, keep calling them, and things like that. So Chase is not nearby. Chase is a little far, and also Sunand, you should avoid Chase because Chase is a private bank. It's not a public bank. You want to open your account in a public bank because it's government insured. So Chase has a really good credit card which you can consider getting later on once you build up your credit score. Actually, I myself have a Chase credit card, but at the start you should. So your Bank of America is here where you see my mouse. It's somewhere here. Wells Fargo is here and PNC is here. There is no Indian store. There is one Bangladeshi store which is right here on 14th Street. Again, this is another advantage living north of campus. There's a Bangladeshi store which has basic Indian food like Maggie and things like that. But if you want to go to the Indian store, you have to go to Patel Brothers, which is like in the suburbs. It's like very far off. But I think in terms of Indian food, you don't really need it because you just get masalas from your house. All the other stuff like fruits and vegetables you can obviously buy at any supermarket. You don't need to go to an Indian supermarket. Rice and all those things you obviously get it at the supermarket. And if you want to buy Indian specific products like Maggie and bourbon biscuit or some maza mango and things like that, you can go to that Bangladeshi store which is on 14th Street that I pointed out. Sunat, getting a credit card is not that easy. You need to have a credit history to get a credit card. Most banks don't give you a credit card right away when you open. You have to getting a credit card takes some time. Although I think these days BOA is giving credit cards as soon as you open the bank account. That used to not be the case. I think last year even. But I think these days they've started giving credit cards. But in most banks, you don't get credit cards when you open. All right, I think it's 12. Is if there are no more questions, I think let us. I think we can stop. Four people have already left. Too bad we didn't reach 69. Subodh. Um, I'll wait for another minute or two. If you guys have any more questions, you can ask me. You're most welcome, Subodh. If you guys need any other help, feel there are many of us here. Who are there to help you. You also have India Club Georgia Tech. I think you guys are already on the Facebook page. You can have a look at their whatever they have written there. You can follow those instructions. You can also I'm always there on the group. You can always ping me with any specific housing questions, things that you feel I might not have covered because this was mostly general. I can also go into very specific details about each apartment to the best of my knowledge. But you can ask me that on WhatsApp. Feel free to ping me individually as well. I'll try my best to help you guys. Oh, Tushar, health plans. You mean health insurance? So usually people take health insurance, the on-campus health insurance, Georgia Tech health insurance. That's the most convenient because you don't have to do anything. It automatically gets added to your fees. But nowadays there are, I think, some cheaper health plans in India which you can look like. When I came to Georgia Tech, the Georgia Tech one was the best one. But now I think they've started more. Yeah, veg food is easy to find, Akshat. Um, if you don't eat egg, you might have bigger problems. But if you eat egg, if you're not like, I mean, if you don't eat egg, it's probably okay too. But if you eat egg, then it's not that hard. You generally get veg food in all the places, unless you go to like some fast food place like McDonald's, then you can't eat anything but fries. But other than that, if you get vegetarian substitutes for anything that has meat in the restaurant, so they substitute the meat with tofu or with vegetables or something like that. So it's not too hard to find veg food on and off campus. So Aditya, actually there are no advantages. The only advantage is that you get some is the person who refers you will get some money for referring you. And if there's anyone who wants to live in exchange, please, I can refer you so we can get money. So that's what I did last year. I referred one apartment and they paid me some money for it. And then I threw a big party with that money. So if somebody wants to live in exchange, I can refer you to the building. But in terms of getting an apartment, it doesn't particularly help you in any way. I don't think you will get the apartment faster if someone refers. Maybe I can push for it if if because if you ask me to refer you, then I can just go to the office saying that these people need to be referred, and then maybe they will look out for your email. So in that case, they might talk to you faster. But the only advantage of referring is the person who refers the apartment, which in this case will be me. I will get some money. Now in my case, I always use that money for parties which I throw. Like, when you guys come here in August, we'll have a big party. When next in spring as well, when during spring break we'll have a nice party. So that money is generally used for that. I generally use these monies for these parties. Do we need SSN? No, you don't need SSN. Oh yes, so you need renters insurance. Good thing you reminded me. So you also need insurance for your house. When you book a lease, you have to also get the insurance. The insurance is around $20 per month. It's not very expensive, but you need to call the insurance company. I think in some cases the leasing office will help you get the insurance. You can ask them, but otherwise you have to call them separately. It's not much of a big deal. Once you have the lease finalized, getting the insurance is just one call. They're usually pretty fast in answering. If I transfer ongoing lease from someone who is living, it depends on their lease, because if their lease is still ongoing at that time, then yeah, you will obviously pay the same rent that they are paying currently. But if they are also renewing the lease, then uh, then obviously, I mean, you will pay whatever the amount is, right? Okay, so I think seven people have gone off, and I think time for the eighth person to go off, which is me. So I'll see you guys later. We will have more of these streams. I think I will try and get together with some of your seniors which are already here, and we can have a combined stream for housing. No, not for housing, for other things like department work and coursework and other general questions that you might have. Right? I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. Have a nice evening, nice night, whatever it is there. Enjoy your weekend. Try to enjoy as much as you can in India, and you can enjoy here as well. But if there is any help that you guys need, just feel free to ask any of us, and try not to do things in a jumbled way. Right now I think housing is very important for you to start booking your housing, your financial documents, things like that. Get your vaccine sorted. All the coursework and everything we will look at um, eventually in June or July. All right, Subodh, you will not have final exams in next month, so you can chill next month. All right, bye. Bye, guys.